Dad, the engine's making a weird noise. We should pull over. I thought it was a reconciliation trip. One late afternoon drive, a father and son, after months of not speaking. The road dust covered my shoes as I sat down on that log. Rest, Dad. I'll check the trunk. I still remember the smell of burnt oil in the air. The sun was starting to set. My heart was beating strangely, as if it knew something I refused to accept. I heard the engine start, and I only saw his taillights disappear into the dust. My granddaughter, Bianca, had told me that morning, with tears in her eyes, "Grandpa, don't go, please." But I wanted to believe that my son still loved me, that after everything we had been through, there was still something left, that blood was thicker than money. If this story is touching your heart, subscribe to the channel. Every day I share a story that could be yours, your neighbor's, anyone's. Tell us in the comments where you are watching us from. My name is Raymond Lawrence Figueroa. I am 76 years old. I was a mechanic for 48 years, until my hands started to shake and I had to close the shop. I'm a widower. My wife died 38 years ago, the same day our twin daughters were born. Since then, I raised my 3 children alone, Ethan, the oldest, and the twins, Hope and Grace. I live in my grandfather's house on the outskirts of Raleigh, a big, old house, full of things my family collected for generations. I never thought that house, my house, would be the reason my own son abandoned me in the middle of nowhere. But it was. And it's still hard for me to believe. That day, Saturday, September 23rd, I woke up early. It was 6 o'clock in the morning when I heard a knock at the door. It was Ethan. "Good morning, Dad. Ready for the ride?" I was still in my pajamas. I got dressed quickly, gray slacks, a blue plaid shirt, the black walking shoes I use. I put my heart medication in a small bag, tucked my wallet in my pocket, and went out. Outside was the car belonging to Everett, Ethan's brother-in-law. A white 2011 Chevrolet Aveo. Everett was driving. Ethan sat up front. I was in the back. "Where are we going?" I asked. "To the countryside, Dad. To that place near Asheville you like." I nodded. I put on my seatbelt and closed my eyes. I thought, how great that Ethan wants to spend time with me. We didn't talk much during the trip. Ethan put on music on the radio, an old country station. Everett was whistling. I looked out the window, watching the hills, the cows, the sheet metal houses go by. We stopped once at a diner for a bite. Ethan bought me a cheeseburger slider. "Eat, Dad, it's a long drive." The slider was good, but I wasn't very hungry. My heart had been beating strangely since I got in the car. It wasn't pain. It was something else, like a premonition, but I ignored it. We kept driving. The highway was empty. It was around 4 o'clock in the afternoon when Ethan said, "Everett, pull over here for a moment." Everett stopped on the shoulder. There was nothing around, just hills and silence. "Dad, the engine's making a weird noise," Ethan said, turning to look at me. "Get out for a moment. Sit there on that log. I'll check the trunk, see if anything is shifted." I opened the door and got out. My legs were shaking a bit. I was still weak from the pacemaker surgery. I walked to the log Ethan pointed to, about 15 feet from the car. I sat down. The sun was starting to set, and a cool wind was messing up my hair. Ethan opened the trunk, put his head in, moved something around. Everett remained at the wheel with the engine running. I settled onto the log. I took a deep breath. I thought, how strange. I didn't hear any noise from the engine, but I didn't say anything. A father doesn't question his son. Then Ethan closed the trunk. He walked to the passenger door. He got in. And before I could say anything, before I could ask what was happening, Everett sped up. The car took off, kicking up dust. I got up from the log. "Son, what are you doing?" I yelled. I walked a few steps towards the road. "Ethan!" The car kept going. It didn't slow down. It didn't stop. It just kept going, pulling away, until it became tiny in the distance, until it disappeared. I stood there, stranded in the middle of nowhere, with the dust still floating in the air. And the silence. A silence so vast it hurt my ears. I didn't understand. I couldn't understand. I went back to the log and sat down. He'll come back, I thought. This is a joke. He'll be back soon. 30 minutes passed. He didn't come back. An hour passed. Nothing. The sun was going down and the cold was beginning to bite. I didn't have a jacket, just the shirt. I rubbed my arms. I looked both ways down the highway. Empty. Not a car, not a person, nothing. I started walking, slowly, because my heart was pounding hard, and the doctor had told me not to exert myself. I walked along the shoulder, lifting my sneakers to avoid tripping on the stones. I thought, why did he leave me here? Did he forget about me? Did he have a problem? I still didn't want to believe the truth. I was still looking for explanations that made sense, because a father doesn't want to believe his son is capable of abandoning him. You always look for another way out, another reason. But there was no other reason. I had walked about 2 miles when I heard the sound of an engine. I turned around. A big truck was coming, one of those that haul produce. I raised my hand. The truck stopped. The driver rolled down the window. He was a heavy-set man with a gray beard, wearing a baseball cap from the Boston Red Sox. "What happened, Grandpa?" "They left me here," I said. My voice sounded strange, choked up. "What do you mean, they left you?" "My son. He brought me for a ride, and he left me." The man looked at me with pity. "Climb in. I'll take you to the town." He helped me up into the cab. Inside, it smelled like tobacco and coffee. He started the engine. "What's your name?" "Raymond." "I'm Elise. Don't worry, Raymond. We'll see what happened." But I already knew. Deep down, I already knew. Elise took me to a small town, about 12 miles from where I had been stranded. He dropped me off at the entrance of the police station. "Are you going to be okay, Mr. Raymond?" "Yes. Thank you." I went inside. A young police officer was sitting behind a desk, drinking coffee. I told him what had happened. He frowned. "Your son left you on the highway?" "Yes." "Do you have his phone number?" I gave him the number. The officer called. No answer. He tried 3 times. Nothing. "Do you have another number? Your home number?" I gave him my home number. The officer dialed. It rang twice, and then a recorded voice said, "The number you have dialed is not in service." I froze. "What do you mean, not in service? That's my phone." The officer looked at me seriously. "Mr. Raymond, do you live alone?" "Yes." "And do you have anyone else you can call?" I called Hope, my daughter. She answered on the 3rd ring. "Dad?" Her voice sounded strange, suspicious. "Honey, I need you to come. I'm in a town. I don't really know where. Ethan left me on the highway and... Dad, Ethan called us last night. He said you've been confused since the operation, that you're saying strange things." "What?" "No, honey, Dad, please get some rest. We'll come see you when we get back from San Diego. I can't talk right now." And she hung up. I stood there with the phone in my hand. The officer was watching me. "What happened?" "She doesn't believe me," I said. My voice was almost a whisper. "My own daughter doesn't believe me." The officer sighed. "Look, Mr. Raymond, the best thing is for you to rest here tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to get you home." I nodded. I had no strength left. That morning, before I left, Bianca had come to my room. My oldest granddaughter, the 19-year-old. She walked in without knocking, her eyes red. "Grandpa, don't go." "Why, my child?" "Please don't go with Dad." Her voice broke. I went over to her, ran my hand through her hair. "It's just a ride, Bianca. It will be good for me." "No, Grandpa, it's not a ride. Ethan knocked on the door. "Bianca, let your grandfather get ready." She looked at me desperately. She wanted to say something else, but she stopped herself. She left the room. I finished dressing and went out too. I didn't listen to her. I thought she was exaggerating. Young people always exaggerate, right? But Bianca knew. She tried to save me, and I didn't listen to her. That night I slept in a chair at the police station with a blanket the officer lent me. I couldn't close my eyes. I just stared at the ceiling, thinking, "Why, Ethan? What did I do wrong?" And then I started putting the pieces together. The questions about the objects in the house, the power of attorney he made me sign, the disconnected phone, the call to Hope setting her up not to believe me. It was all planned. Everything. My son didn't take me for a ride. He took me to get rid of me. And while I was waiting on that log, thinking he would come back, he was selling my house, emptying it, erasing me. And I went along with it. Despite Bianca's tears, despite the premonition, I went. Because I wanted to believe that he still loved me. The next day, the police officer arranged for a neighbor to drive me back to Raleigh. It was 11 o'clock in the morning when I arrived at my house, or what had been my house. The gates had a chain and a padlock. I got out of the car and walked closer. I touched the gate. "Hello? Is anyone there?" Silence. A neighbor came out of the house next door. Mr. Patrick, who had lived there since before I was born. "Raymond? Where have you been?" "Trucks came yesterday. They took everything." I grabbed the gate. My legs were shaking. "Trucks?" "Yes. Your son was here with some guys. They emptied the house. Furniture, paintings, everything. I thought you were moving." I wasn't moving. They were robbing me. In my own house, with my own signature. I felt my chest tighten. Mr. Patrick grabbed my arm. "Come, sit down. I'll bring you some water." My wife was named Mary Jean. I met her at a county fair in the small town where she lived. I was 21 years old. She was 19. We danced all night. At the end, she gave me her address. "If you want to come visit me, come on Sundays." And I went every Sunday for 6 months, until I asked her to marry me. We got married in her town's church, with a dress her mother sewed. We had Ethan the following year. We were happy, poor but happy. I worked in someone else's garage. Mary took care of the baby, and on Sundays we went to the river. But when she got pregnant with the twins, everything got complicated. The labor was difficult. The girls were born fine, but Mary started to bleed. The doctors did what they could, but it wasn't enough. She died that same night, with my hand gripping hers. I was left alone with 3 children. Ethan was 10 years old. The twins were newborns. My sister Rhonda came to help me the first few weeks. But she had her own family. She couldn't stay forever. So I learned to change diapers at dawn, to prepare bottles, to sleep 3 hours a night. I worked at the shop during the day, and at night I was both mother and father. Ethan helped me. Poor thing. He was a child, but he had to grow up fast. He handed me towels when I bathed the twins. He helped me fold the laundry. He came with me to the grocery store on Saturdays. "Dad, I'll help you," he would tell me. And he did help me. We were a team. I thought, This boy is going to be a good man. He's going to take care of his sisters. And I believed it for years. Until that Saturday on the highway, when Ethan was 12 years old, he started coming with me to the shop on Saturdays. I taught him to clean oil, to check brakes, to clean filters. He was good with his hands. He learned fast. One Saturday, we were fixing an old Ford for a customer who came in all the time. Ethan handed me the wrenches without me asking for them. He knew which one I needed just by looking at me. "You're good at this, son," I told him. He smiled. "It's because you teach me well, Dad." We finished the job at noon. I paid him with a $20 bill. "Go on, buy yourself something." He came back with 2 pizza slices, one for you, one for me. We ate them sitting on the sidewalk outside the shop, our hands full of grease. That day I thought, how lucky I am to have a son like this. How wrong I was. The house where I live I inherited from my father. He inherited it from my grandfather, who built it in 1925. It's big, made of brick, with a backyard and a porch with wooden columns. Inside there are things my family collected for years. In the dining room, there is a Swiss clock my grandfather brought back from a trip to Europe. In the living room, 3 colonial-style paintings they bought at an auction in Boston. In the study, a collection of antique maps from when North Carolina was still being settled. A collector from New York offered me $150,000 for those maps 5 years ago. I told him no. This is family property. It's not for sale. That house wasn't just a piece of property. It was memory. It was all I had left of my people. And Ethan knew it. That's why he wanted it. Sundays were sacred in my house. Every Sunday, Ethan would bring his children, Bianca and Ben. They would arrive around noon. I would cook a stew with potatoes, carrots, and beef. Mary Jean always made it that way, and I followed her recipe. Bianca would help me set the table. "Grandpa, should I set 4 plates or 5? "5, my child. 1 for your dad, 1 for your mom, 1 for your brother, 1 for you, and 1 for me." Ben would sit in the living room, looking at the paintings. "Grandpa, where did you get this?" "From my grandfather. It's almost 100 years old." We would eat together, talk, laugh. Georgia, Ethan's wife, would compliment my cooking. "Father-in-law, this is delicious." I felt good. I felt like I had family. I felt like I still mattered. But now I know that while I was cooking, they were calculating how much everything was worth. 2 months ago, I had heart surgery. I've had a pacemaker for 5 years, and the generator had worn out. It had to be replaced. It wasn't serious, the doctors told me. But at my age, everything is a risk. The night before, I called my children. Hope and Grace came from San Diego. They cried. "Dad, everything is going to be fine." Ethan arrived later, looking tired. "Don't worry, old man. I'll take care of everything while you're hospitalized." They operated on me at 7 o'clock in the morning. When I woke up, Ethan was sitting there in a chair. "How do you feel?" "Alive," I told him. He smiled. But now, looking back, I wonder what he was thinking. If he felt relief because I survived, or disappointment because I didn't die and he still had to wait to get the house. During recovery, Ethan stayed at my house. "To take care of you, Dad. You can't be alone." Georgia came to cook. Bianca brought me the newspaper. Ben gave me my medication. Everything seemed normal. But Ethan walked around the house like he was inspecting it. He opened drawers, touched the paintings, looked at the clocks. "Dad, how much is this clock worth?" "I don't know, son. It's old." "And those maps in the study? They're antique, from the colonial era." He listened, like he was taking notes. I thought it was curiosity, that he wanted to know the family history. But it wasn't that. He was appraising. He was taking inventory. He was preparing the theft. And I, idiot that I was, told him everything. I told him how much everything was worth, where it came from, what it meant. I was giving him the tools to destroy me. One Tuesday, about 2 weeks after the operation, Ethan came with some papers. "Dad, I need you to sign this." "What is it?" "A power of attorney. That way, if anything happens to you, I can manage your affairs without a problem. Pay bills, run errands, things like that." My eyesight was tired. The letters were dancing. "Can I read it later?" "It's long, Dad, and it doesn't say anything weird. It's just to make our lives easier." He handed me a pen. I signed. With a trembling hand, still weak, I signed. I didn't read it. I trusted him. And that signature was my sentence, because that power of attorney wasn't to make my life easier. It was to take it away from me, to sell my house without me knowing, to erase me. And I gave it to him. I gave him the power to destroy me. And on top of that, I thanked him. 2 weeks later, Ethan proposed the trip. We were having iced tea on the porch, a Saturday afternoon. "Dad, you need to get out. You stay cooped up too much." "I'm old now, son. Where am I going to go?" "I'll take you. We'll go to the countryside, to that place you liked near Asheville. You'll get some fresh air, eat something good, and relax." I liked the idea. We hadn't really talked in months, hadn't been together. After the surgery, everything had been doctors, medication, beds. I missed my son. "When?" "Next Saturday. Pack a small bag and that's it." "Okay, sounds good."
Mom,
I agreed because I wanted to believe he still loved me, that I still mattered to him, that family meant something. But to him, it no longer meant anything. I was just an obstacle, an old man standing between him and a house full of valuable things. "Dad, we're always going to be together." He made me that promise hundreds of times, when he was little, when he was a teenager, when he had his children. "You'll live with us when you're older. We'll never leave you alone." I clung to those words. Because when you get old, when your body fails and your strength leaves you, you need to believe that someone is going to be there, that you won't die abandoned, that your children will honor you. But Ethan's promises were smoke, empty words that the wind carried away on that highway. I believed it was love, that the care, the visits, the suggestion of the trip, it was all love. But it wasn't. It was inventory. It was a son measuring how much it would cost to get rid of his father. And when the numbers worked out for him, he took me out of his life. And I, an idiot until the end, got into that car thinking we were going to reconnect. My sister Rhonda came to visit me one Thursday, about 3 weeks before the trip. She arrived unannounced, with a container of chili she had cooked. "So you don't just eat noodles," she told me. We sat in the kitchen. She looked everywhere as if she was searching for something. "What's wrong, Rhonda?" "Raymond, I have to tell you something." She bit her lip. "That son of yours is measuring the house." I laughed. "What do you mean, measuring?" "Just what you heard. Last week I saw him with a guy on the sidewalk pointing at the gate, and the other guy was writing things in a notebook." "It must be for some repairs," I told her. "No, brother, it's not for repairs. That son of yours has the eyes of a vulture, I'm telling you." I got angry. "Don't talk about Ethan like that. He's my son." Rhonda put the container down on the table, hard. "Fine, have it your way. But don't say I didn't warn you." We argued badly that day. Rhonda got up from the table, grabbed her purse. "By the time you realize it, it's going to be too late." "That's enough, Rhonda. Leave if you're going to talk like that." I'm leaving. But remember what I told you. She slammed the door on the way out. She never came back. I stayed there, angry, thinking she was exaggerating, that she was jealous, that she never liked Ethan because when they were kids, he talked back to her. It's old resentment, I thought. But it wasn't resentment. It was the truth. And I, instead of listening to her, threw her out of my house. I defended him. Because a father always defends his children, even if he has doubts, even if something deep down tells him that something is not right. A father always chooses to believe them. Georgia, Ethan's wife, started visiting me more often. Before, she only came on Sundays with the family. But after the operation, she came during the week too. Father-in-law, I brought you some soup. Father-in-law, do you need anything from the grocery store? She was too attentive, too sweet. One Wednesday, she came with a shepherd's pie. She sat with me at the table while I ate. Father-in-law, you have such a nice house, so full of history. Yes, it's old, but I love it. And are those paintings original? Yes, from the colonial era. They must be worth a fortune. I shrugged. I don't know. I never had them appraised. She smiled. But the smile didn't reach her eyes. Now I understand. She was confirming, verifying that what Ethan had told her was true, that the house was worth what he said. Ethan started asking me strange questions. One Sunday after lunch, he stood looking at the Swiss clock in the dining room. Dad, how much is this clock worth? I have no idea, son. But it must be worth something, right? It's antique. I suppose so. He approached it, touched it. Does it work? Yes. You have to wind it every 3 days. What if you sold it? How much would they give you? I laughed uncomfortably. I'm not going to sell it, Ethan. It belonged to my grandfather. I know, Dad, but just out of curiosity. $1,000? More? I don't know. I never thought about selling it. He nodded, but kept looking at it. Then he went to the study. He came back with one of the antique maps. And this? It's from the 1830s, a map of North Carolina when it was still... Is it worth money? Yes, quite a bit. How much? He was starting to annoy me. I don't know, Ethan. Why so much interest? No reason, Dad. Just curiosity. But it wasn't curiosity. It was inventory. Everett, the brother-in-law, started showing up more often. Before, I saw him once a month, if that. But after my operation, he came every week. I came to say hello, Mr. Raymond. Always with that fake smile. One Saturday, he came with Ethan. The two of them walked around the backyard, measuring it with their eyes. How many square feet is this yard, Dad? Ethan asked. I don't know. I never measured it. It must be big. 2,000 square feet? Could be. Everett was whistling, his hands in his pockets. Nice property, Mr. Raymond. In good shape. Yes, I take care of it. Then they went into the house. Everett stood staring at the ceiling beams. What great wood. You can't get this anymore. I nodded, not understanding why so much attention. Now I know. He was appraising, the two of them were appraising, deciding how much every piece of my life was worth. Bianca was acting strange. My granddaughter, who was always cheerful, affectionate, started to be quiet. One Sunday she was helping me wash the dishes. Grandpa, can I ask you something? Of course, my child. She was silent, rubbing a plate with a sponge. Do you trust Dad? The question surprised me. Of course I trust him. He's my son. And if he... She stopped. If he what? She shook her head. Nothing. Forget it. Bianca, if there's something you need to tell me... Ethan walked into the kitchen. What's the secret conversation here? Bianca let go of the plate. She dried her hands. Nothing, Dad. I'm almost done. She left quickly. Ethan looked at me. What did she tell you? Nothing important, I lied. But Bianca had tried to warn me, and I once again didn't pay attention, because a father doesn't want to see the signs when they come from where he least expects them. One night, Bianca went into Ethan's study looking for a pen. The door was open. She saw papers on the desk, contracts, something that said property appraisal. She went closer. She read, estimated value, $250,000. It was the address of my house. She heard footsteps. She quickly put the papers away. Ethan walked in. What are you doing here? I was looking for a pen. Don't touch my things. He ushered her out of the study. That night, Bianca told Ben, Dad is planning something with Grandpa's house. They stayed up trying to understand. 2 days later, Ben found Ethan's cell phone unlocked on the table. He opened WhatsApp. He saw the group house plan. He read the messages. His blood ran cold. Take him for a ride. Leave him somewhere far away. He took screenshots. He sent them to Bianca. That night they tried to talk to me. But Ethan never left them alone with me. He watched them. And they knew that if they said something prematurely, the plan would change. But it would still exist. Hope and Grace, my daughters, started calling me less. Before, they called me 2 or 3 times a week from San Diego. But after the operation, barely once. And always short calls. Dad, how are you? Fine, honey. When are you coming to visit me? Soon, Dad. We're very busy with work. So busy that you can't come to see your father. It's not that, Dad. It's just that Ethan says that visits stress you out. That it's better if we let you rest. I was stunned. Did Ethan tell you that? Yes. He says the doctor recommended that you take it easy. That was a lie. The doctor never said that. But my daughters believed him, not me. Because Ethan was already preparing the ground. He was already planting the idea that I was confused, weak, senile, so that when he abandoned me, they wouldn't believe me. One Tuesday, he arrived with the papers. I was on the porch, soaking up the sun. Dad, I need your signature here. What is it? A power of attorney. So I can handle your affairs if something happens. He had mentioned it to me before, but that day he brought the official papers. There were about 5 pages, small print. I looked for my reading glasses. Let me read it. It's very technical, Dad. It's legal stuff. Basically, it says that if something happens to you, I can pay your bills, run errands, things like that. It's for your own good. I tried to read it, but the letters were dancing. My eyesight wasn't good enough. What if I ask a lawyer to review it? Ethan frowned. Don't you trust me? It's not that, son. It's just that, Dad, this is to protect you. If you don't want to sign it, don't sign it. He put the papers away, offended. I felt guilty. No, Ethan, wait. I'll sign. He handed me a blue pen. I placed the papers on the porch table. I tried to read again, but I didn't understand anything. Here? Yes. There, at the bottom of each page. I signed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. With a trembling hand, still weak from the operation. Raymond Lawrence Figueroa. My signature looked different. It looked like an old man's signature. Ethan took the papers, put them in a folder. Done, Dad. Thank you. What did you need this for, son? I already told you. It's just a precaution, in case something happens. What's going to happen? Nothing, Dad. Hopefully nothing. But at your age, you never know. He left. I stayed there, with the pen in my hand. I felt something strange in my stomach, something I couldn't name. But I ignored it, just as I ignored everything else. Because a father doesn't want to believe his son is betraying him, even if all the signs are there, screaming the truth at him. 2 days later, Ethan came back, this time with Everett. "Dad, remember I told you about the trip?" "Yes." "Does Saturday work for you?" "Yes, that works for me." "Perfect. We'll leave early, around 7 o'clock in the morning. Pack light, just the essentials." "How many days will we be gone?" "I don't know, 2, 3, depending on how you feel." Everett was in the living room, looking at the paintings again. "Mr. Raymond, have you ever thought about selling these things?" "No." "Well, they're worth money, you know. A friend of mine buys antiques. If you want, I can give you his contact." "I don't want to sell anything." Everett shrugged. "Whatever you want." But the question had already been asked. The message had already been given. They already knew how much everything was worth. And I had just given them the legal power to do whatever they wanted. I signed my own sentence with a trembling hand. That's what I did. I gave them the keys to my life. I gave them the authorization to destroy me. And on top of that, I thanked them. "Thank you for taking care of me, son. Thank you for worrying." What an idiot I was. The signs were all there. Rhonda warning me. Georgia asking too many questions. Ethan appraising every object. Everett showing up out of nowhere. Bianca trying to talk. My daughters calling less. The power of attorney. Everything was connected. It was all part of the plan. But I didn't want to see it. Because seeing it meant accepting that my son was betraying me. And that was more painful than anything else. So I kept going. I packed my bag for the trip. I shaved. I put on clean clothes. And I waited for Saturday. Like a lamb waiting for the slaughter. Saturday dawned beautiful. Clear sky, gentle sun. I woke up at 6 o'clock. I took a shower. I put on the gray slacks and the plaid shirt. I put my medication in a small cloth bag. I packed 2 changes of clothes in an old backpack. At 7 o'clock, the doorbell rang. It was Ethan. "Ready, Dad?" "Ready." I went out. Everyone was at the gate. Georgia with red eyes, as if she had been crying. Bianca and Ben quiet, serious. Even Everett was standing there next to the white car. "What are you all doing here?" I asked. "We came to say goodbye, father-in-law," Georgia said. She approached me and hugged me tightly. Too tightly. I felt her tears on my shoulder. "Take good care of yourself, father-in-law. Really good care." It surprised me. It was only a 2-day trip. Why was she crying? But I didn't say anything. A father doesn't question people's emotions. Ethan spoke loudly, as if he wanted the whole neighborhood to hear. "Dad is so excited about this trip, aren't you, old man?" I felt uncomfortable. Mr. Patrick, the neighbor, was watering his garden. "Going on a trip, Raymond?" "Yes, Mr. Patrick. A few days in the country." "That's great. Have fun." Mrs. Stella, from the house across the street, also came out. "Raymond, have a good time." Everyone was looking at me. Everyone was smiling. And I felt something strange, as if I were in a play and didn't know my role. Georgia was still crying. Bianca had tears in her eyes, but she didn't say anything. Ben was looking at the ground. "Well, that's it. Let's go," Ethan said. He took my arm, led me to the car. He opened the back door. "Get in, Dad." I got in. Georgia kissed me on the cheek. "I love you, father-in-law." "I love you too, Georgia." The door closed. The car started. And that was the last time I saw my house with the gate open. In the car, Everett was driving. Ethan was up front, and I was in the back. Everett put on music, old country, the kind I like. Ethan was looking at his cell phone. For the first 20 minutes, no one spoke. I looked out the window, watching the city fall away behind us. We passed through downtown, past the square where Mary Jean and I used to sit on Sundays. We passed the market where I bought meat. We passed the church where we got married. Dad, do you remember when you used to take me to the park when I was little? Ethan asked without looking up from his phone. Yes, I remember. You were a good dad. I tried. He didn't say anything more. He kept looking at his phone, and I kept thinking about that phrase. You were, in the past tense, as if I no longer was, as if that time had already ended. We left Raleigh on Highway 5. There was little traffic. Everett drove calmly, whistling to the rhythm of the music. I felt my heart beating strangely. It wasn't pain. It was uneasiness. How much longer until we get there? I asked. A while, Dad. Relax. Ethan turned around. How do you feel? Is your heart okay? Yes, fine. Did you bring your medication? Yes. Perfect. He looked back at his phone. He was writing something. Messages were coming in. Everett looked at him sidelong. Everything okay? Yes, just coordinating. Coordinating what? I asked. Nothing, Dad. Work stuff. But something in his tone didn't sit right with me. Something wasn't adding up. We kept driving. The scenery changed. Fewer houses, more fields, cows, hills, fences. The sky grew bigger, and I, smaller. We stopped at a diner about halfway there. Everett parked. Let's grab a quick bite. We got out. The place was small, with 3 plastic tables on the sidewalk. A heavy-set woman was serving. What are you having? 3 cheeseburger sliders, Ethan said. And to drink? 3 Cokes. I hadn't ordered anything. Ethan ordered for me, as if I couldn't, as if I were a child. We sat down. The sliders arrived. Ethan placed one in front of me. Eat, Dad. Thank you. I picked up the slider, took a bite. It was good, but I wasn't hungry. Ethan and Everett were talking about baseball, about a game that had been the night before. I tried to follow the conversation, but I didn't understand what team they were talking about. The Cardinals? I asked. Everett laughed. No, Mr. Raymond. The Yankees? I felt foolish. Ethan looked at me. Dad, the Cardinals are from St. Louis. Oh. I fell silent. I kept eating my slider, feeling the heat rise in my face. Everett laughed again. It wasn't a mean laugh, but it hurt just the same. Ethan smiled. The old man doesn't understand anything about baseball anymore. He said it like a joke, but I felt it like a stab. Yes, I do understand, I said softly. It was a joke, Dad. But it wasn't. It was a way of telling me I was old, out of touch, useless. We finished eating in silence. Ethan paid. I'll pay, I said, taking out my wallet. No, Dad, keep your money. But I can. Keep your money, I said. His tone was harsh. I put my wallet away. I felt useless, as if I couldn't even pay for a slider. We went back to the car. We continued the trip. And that knot in my stomach grew bigger. Something was wrong. But I still didn't know what. 30 minutes later, I asked again. Is it much further? No, Dad. We're almost there. But the scenery didn't change. Just roads, hills, nothing. Where exactly are we going? A quiet place, I know. You'll like it? I nodded. But I didn't like anything about it. Everett looked in the rearview mirror. How's that heart doing, Mr. Raymond? Fine. No pain? No. That's good. Because there are no hospitals nearby. The phrase stuck with me. Why are there no hospitals nearby? It's a rural area, Dad. Country. That's why it's nice. Quiet. But I didn't want quiet. I wanted to go home. I started to feel that something was very wrong, that this trip was not what I thought, that I had made a mistake. But we were already far away, and there was no turning back. Everett pulled off the main highway. He took a dirt road. The car jolted over the potholes. "Is this the way?" Ethan asked. "Yes, almost there." "Almost there for what?" I asked. "To arrive, Dad." But there was nothing. Just dirt, stones, dry bushes. The road got narrower. The car kicked up dust. I grabbed the seatbelt, feeling every bump. My heart was beating faster. "Son, I think I want to go back." "Why, Dad?" "I don't feel well. We're almost there. Hang on a little longer." But we kept driving. 5 minutes, 10, nothing. Just empty fields. "Ethan, stop the car." "I want to go back." "Relax, Dad. Almost." "Stop the car." Ethan turned around. He looked at me seriously. "Dad, calm down. It'll be bad for your heart." But I couldn't calm down anymore. I already knew. Deep down, I already knew. The car stopped. In the middle of nowhere. Everett turned off the engine. Silence. Only the wind blowing. "Why did we stop here?" I asked. Ethan opened his door. "The engine is making a weird noise. Get out for a moment, Dad. Sit on that log while I check." He pointed to an old log lying by the side of the road. I opened the door. I got out. My legs were shaking. I walked to the log. I sat down. Ethan opened the trunk. Everett stayed at the wheel, with the engine running. I was breathing deeply, trying to calm my heart. The sun was beginning to set. It was cold. "What noise did you hear, son?" Ethan didn't answer. He closed the trunk. He walked toward the door. He got in. "Son, what's going on?" The car started. "Ethan!" I yelled. I stood up. The car drove away. "Come back! Ethan, come back!" But he didn't come back. He just left, kicking up dust, leaving me there, alone, in the middle of nowhere. I stood there, watching the dust float in the air. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't process what had just happened. He'll come back, I thought. This is a joke, a mistake. He'll be back soon. I sat back down on the log. I waited. 5 minutes, 10, 15. He didn't come back. The sun kept setting, the cold increased. I started to tremble, not from cold, from fear, from rage, from pain. My own son had left me stranded. He had brought me out here just to abandon me, as if I were trash, as if my life was worthless. I put my hand on my chest. My heart was racing. "Breathe, Raymond. Take a deep breath." But I couldn't, because it wasn't just my heart that was broken. It was everything. It was my whole life falling apart on that dirt road. If you are listening to my story, please leave a comment telling me where you are watching us from. Sometimes knowing that there are people out there listening to me gives me the strength to keep telling. Because what I'm going to tell you now is the hardest part. It's what was hardest for me to accept. That trip, that theatrical farewell at the gate, George's tears, it had all been a lie. A performance staged so the neighbors would believe I was going on a trip, so no one would suspect when I didn't come back. Ethan had planned everything. The power of attorney, the trip, the abandonment, and I, the idiot, had fallen for it. I had gotten into that car thinking I was going to reconnect with my son, but the only connection that was severed that day was the one I thought we had, the one between father and son, the one of blood, the one of love. We kept driving after the diner stop. The road became lonelier. Fewer cars, fewer houses, less life, just gray asphalt and hills on the sides. The sun was starting to go down. It was around 3:30 in the afternoon. Ethan put his cell phone away. He settled into the seat and looked out the window. Everett was still whistling, but quieter. I felt something strange in the air, like when it's about to rain and the air gets heavy. "Is it much further?" I asked again. "A while," Ethan said without looking at me. His voice sounded different, colder. I adjusted in my seat, trying not to think. But the knot in my stomach was still there, and my heart was beating faster than normal. I closed my eyes for a moment. I took a deep breath. "Relax, Raymond. It's just a trip." Everett pulled off the main highway. He took a secondary, narrower road. The asphalt turned to dirt. The car started jumping over the potholes. "Is this the way?" Ethan asked. "Yes, like I told you." I opened my eyes. "Where are we?" "A shortcut, Dad." But it didn't look like a shortcut. It looked like a road to the middle of nowhere. There were no houses. There were no people. Just dry fields, bushes, stones. The dust was coming in through the car vents. I started coughing. "Close the window, Dad," Ethan said. I closed it. The air inside got heavy, hot. I felt like I couldn't breathe. "Can we stop for a moment? I need to get out." "Later, Dad. We're almost there." But we weren't getting anywhere. We just kept going deeper and deeper into nowhere. Ethan turned around to look at me. His face was serious. He wasn't smiling anymore. He wasn't pretending anymore. "Dad, I have to tell you something." My heart skipped a beat. "What is it, son?" "Nothing. I just wanted you to know that this is for the best." "What is for the best?" "This, the trip, everything." I didn't understand. "I don't understand you, Ethan." He sighed, as if tired. "I know you don't understand. You never understand anything." The tone hurt me. "Why are you talking to me like that?" "Because it's the truth, Dad." He turned around, looked forward again. Everett sped up a little. The engine roared. I grabbed the seatbelt, feeling that something very bad was about to happen. "Ethan, I want to go home." "You can't go back, Dad." "What do you mean, I can't?" "Because there is no home anymore." The words hit me like a punch. "What did you say?" "That there is no home anymore." "Well, the house is there, but it's not yours anymore." I froze. "What are you talking about?" Ethan turned around again. This time his face was calm. Too calm. "I sold the house, Dad, yesterday, while you were packing your little bag for the trip. I was signing the papers with the buyer." I felt the world move. "No, you can't sell my house." "Yes, I can. I have the power of attorney you signed. Remember? You gave me the power." "But I signed that for something else. For emergencies. And this is an emergency. Mine. I needed the money." My whole body was shaking. "Ethan, that house is mine. It belongs to the family." "It was yours. Now it belongs to Mr. Fields, a guy from Boston who pays well." "You're useless, Dad." The words came out cold, hard, like stones. "You can't work anymore. You can't take care of the house. You just spend money on medicine. You're a burden." I tried to speak, but no voice came out. And that house was full of things that were worth money. Money that I need. That my family needs. So I made the decision. "What decision?" "To sell everything. The paintings, the clocks, the maps, the furniture, everything." You can't do this to me." "It's already done, Dad." He turned around again, looking at the road. Everett kept driving, in silence, as if nothing was happening. As if they weren't destroying me. I put my hand on my chest. My heart hurt. It really hurt. as if something inside me was breaking into pieces. The silence in the car was heavy, dense, as if the air had turned to cement. I looked at the back of my son's neck. That hair I had cut when he was little. That head I had caressed 1,000 times. And I didn't recognize him. "Why, Ethan?" My voice came out choked. "Why are you doing this to me?" "Because that's life, Dad. Because old people get in the way. Because I have to think about my future. About my children. Your children love me. Bianca and Ben love me. Yes, they love you. And that's why I didn't tell them anything. So they wouldn't suffer. Bianca knew. She tried to warn me." Ethan tensed up. "Bianca is a busybody. She was snooping where she shouldn't have been. She's good. She has a heart. Something you lost." Ethan laughed. A dry, joyless laugh. "I didn't lose it, Dad. I just learned to use it less." Everett accelerated more. The car was going fast now on that dirt road. I gripped the seatbelt tightly. "Where are you taking me?" "You'll see." "Ethan, please, stop the car. Let's talk." "There's nothing to talk about, Dad. It's already decided." "What's decided?" He didn't answer. We kept driving. The sun was getting lower. The sky was turning orange. It was hot inside the car. But I felt cold. A cold that started deep inside me. I thought of Mary Jean, of what she would say if she saw this. "Your mother would protect you," I told Ethan. "Your mother would never have let you do this to me." "Mom is dead, Dad. Almost 40 years ago. She can't protect anyone. She knew you. She knew what you were like. She didn't know anything. She died when I was little. She knew you were sensitive, that you needed love. And you gave me love. And now I give you this. It's fair, right?" My heart was beating so fast I thought it was going to burst. I put my hand on my chest. I took a deep breath. "Everett, stop the car. I feel sick." Everett looked at Ethan. Ethan nodded. "Stop here." The car braked suddenly. It kicked up a cloud of dust. I coughed. "I need to get out. I need air." "We'll get out soon, Dad. Relax." But I wasn't relaxed. I was terrified. Because now I understood. Now I knew exactly what was happening. It wasn't a trip. It wasn't a ride. It was a plan. A plan to get rid of me, to take me out of the way. So I couldn't claim anything. I looked out the window. There was nothing around, just empty fields, hills, silence. And I knew that what was coming was worse than everything he had told me until now. "Dad, if it helps at all, it wasn't easy." Ethan spoke without looking at me. "It wasn't easy to decide, but it was necessary. Necessary to abandon your father. Necessary to move forward. The house is worth a lot. More than $200,000 with everything inside. With that money, I can pay debts, buy Georgia a house, send Ben to a good college. And what about me? What happens to me? You already lived your life, Dad. 76 years. You had your life. Now it's my turn." I kept looking at him. That man was not my son. He was something else. Something I hadn't raised. Something that didn't come from me. "If your mother saw you," I said, "she would die again." Ethan closed his eyes. For a second, for a single second, I saw something. Pain. Doubt. But he hid it quickly. "Mom is not here. It's just you and me. And this is what has to happen." The car stopped. Completely. Everett turned off the engine. Total silence. Only the wind hitting against the windows. Ethan opened his door. "Get out, Dad." "No. Get out." The engine is making a weird noise. It's not making any noise. Get out, Dad. Don't make me repeat myself. His voice was an order, cold, harsh. I opened the door with trembling hands. I got out. My legs barely supported me. Ethan pointed to an old log lying by the side of the road. Sit there. I'll check the trunk. I walked to the log. I sat down. The sun was setting. The orange sky was turning red. It was cold, and I, at that moment, sitting on that log in the middle of nowhere, understood. I understood that it wasn't a trip. It was a goodbye. It was my son's way of telling me, I don't need you anymore. You don't exist anymore. And there, on that log, with the cold wind hitting my face, with my heart pounding wildly, I understood that everything had been a lie. That every I love you, Dad, every hug, every promise had been an act. That to my son, I had stopped being a person. I was just an obstacle, an old man getting in the way between him and a house full of money. And now I was here, in the middle of nowhere, waiting for what I already knew was going to happen. Because you can deny the truth for a long time. But there comes a moment when the truth hits you in the face so hard that you can't ignore it anymore. And that was my moment. That log, that empty road, that setting sun, that was the moment my life, as I knew it, ended, and my son was the one holding the knife. Ethan walked toward the trunk. He opened it. I watched him from the log, my hands on my knees, trying to control the trembling. He put his head inside, as if he was looking for something, moved things around, closed the trunk. Then he walked to the passenger door. He opened it. He got in. And I was still there waiting for him to say, "That's it, Dad. It was a false alarm. Get in." But he didn't say it. He didn't say anything. Everett was still at the wheel, with the engine running. He had never turned it off. And that should have warned me. It should have been the sign. But I still wanted to believe. I still hoped that my son wasn't capable of what he was about to do. But he was. And he did it. "Son?" I asked from the log. My voice sounded weak, old. "What's wrong?" Ethan closed his door. He put on his seatbelt. He didn't look at me. "Ethan, is everything okay?" The engine roared. Everett put it in first gear. The car started to move, slowly at first. I got up from the log. "What are you doing?" "Where are you going?" The car sped up. "Ethan!" I yelled. I walked toward the car with trembling legs. "Wait, don't leave me here." But the car kept going. It sped up more. I tried to run after it. I ran about 10 or 15 feet. But I couldn't. My legs gave out. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought it was going to explode. I stopped. I clutched my chest. "Son!" I yelled with all the strength I had left. "Come back!" But the car was already far away, kicking up a cloud of dust that blinded me. I stood there in the middle of the dirt road, with the dust still floating in the air, my feet buried in the dry earth, my hands still outstretched, as if I could grab the car even though it was gone. The sound of the engine faded away, further and further, until there was nothing left. Just silence. A silence so vast it hurt my ears. I looked around. There was nothing. Not a house, not a utility pole, not a person. Just empty fields, hills in the distance, and the sky getting darker and darker. The sun had almost set. Soon it would be night, and I was alone, completely alone, in the plaid shirt I had put on that morning, without a jacket, without food, without water, without anything. I went back to the log. I sat down. My legs were shaking so much that I couldn't stand up. I put my hands to my face. I took a deep breath. Once, twice, 3 times, trying to calm my heart, trying to process what had just happened. He'll come back, I thought. This is a joke, a test. He'll be back soon, because a father can't accept that his son would abandon him like that. You look for explanations, justifications, anything but the truth. I looked at the road. Empty. I waited 5 minutes, 10. Nothing. Only the wind blowing, kicking up dust, moving the dry bushes. And the cold that was starting to bite, that got through my shirt, through my pants, that was freezing my bones. I took the bag of medication out of my pocket. I opened it. Inside were the pills for my heart, the ones I had to take twice a day. I looked at the time on my watch. 4:30 in the afternoon. I had to take a pill at 6 o'clock, but I didn't have any water. How was I going to take it without water? I put the bag away again. I took out my wallet. Inside I had about $20. What good was that to me here? There was nothing to spend it on, nothing to buy, nothing. I put the wallet away. I stared at the road, waiting, still waiting. Because the mind, when it doesn't want to accept something, clings to any hope, no matter how idiotic. And I was clinging to the hope that my son was not a monster, even though he had already proven he was. 30 minutes passed. The sun completely set. The sky turned violet, then dark blue. The first stars began to appear. And I was still there, sitting on that log, looking at the empty road. He's not coming back, I finally thought. The truth hit me like a slap. He's not coming back. He left you here to die. And maybe that was the idea. To leave me in the middle of nowhere, without food, without water, with a weak heart. To wait for nature to do the job, for the cold, the night, the fear, to finish what he didn't want to do with his own hands. And that way, no one could blame him. My dad got lost on a trip, he would say. We don't know what happened to him. And everyone would believe him. Because no one wants to believe that a son is capable of killing his father. Not even like this. Not even in this cowardly way. I got up from the log. I couldn't stay sitting there. I had to move. I had to do something. I started walking down the road, in the direction we had come from. Slowly, because my legs felt heavy and my heart was beating strangely. I walked 300 feet, 600 feet. The road seemed endless. Everything looked the same. Dirt, stones, bushes. There were no signs. There were no landmarks. I could be walking in circles, and I wouldn't realize it. I stopped. I took a deep breath. The cold air burned my lungs. What do? I thought. Do I keep walking? Do I go back to the log? I didn't know. I had no idea. I had never been in a situation like this. I had never been so alone, so lost, so betrayed. I sat down on the ground, right there, in the middle of the road. And for the first time all day, I felt like crying. But I didn't cry. I don't know why. Maybe because tears wouldn't change anything. Maybe because pride still outweighed the pain. Or maybe because crying would waste energy I needed to survive. I stayed seated there, looking at the stars that were getting brighter and brighter. There were so many, thousands, millions, and I was so small, so insignificant. An old man abandoned in the middle of nowhere, without a home, without family, without anything. Mary Jean always told me, "Raymond, you are strong, stronger than you think." And I believed her. But that night, sitting on that dirt road, with the cold chilling me to the bone, I didn't feel strong. I felt broken, destroyed. as if my son had taken my life and thrown it in the trash. Because that's what he had done. He had thrown me away. I heard a noise, far away, an engine. I jumped up. He's back, I thought. Ethan came back. I looked at the road. I saw lights. Lights coming closer. My heart pounded hard, but this time with hope. I knew he would come back. I knew he wasn't capable. The lights came closer. I raised my arms, signaling them. The vehicle stopped. But it wasn't Everett's white Chevrolet Aveo. It was a big truck, one of those that haul produce. The door opened. A heavy-set man with a gray beard, wearing a Red Sox cap, got out. "What are you doing here, Grandpa?" I was silent. I didn't know what to say. "Are you lost?" "Yes," I finally said. My voice sounded strange, as if it wasn't mine. "They left me here." "What do you mean, they left you?" "My son. He brought me for a ride and he left me." The man looked at me with pity. With that pity you feel for abandoned dogs on the street. "Get in, sir. I'll take you to the nearest town." He helped me into the truck cab. Inside, it smelled like tobacco and coffee. There was a statue of the Virgin Mary hanging from the rearview mirror. The man started the engine. "What's your name?" "Raymond." "I'm Elise. Have you been here long?" "About an hour. You're lucky I passed by. No one drives on this road at night." I looked out the window. The dirt road looked black under the truck's headlights. "Why did your son leave you here?" "I don't know." I lied. But I did know. I knew exactly why. Because to him, I was worthless. Because money was thicker than blood. Because the values I had taught him never sank in. Or maybe they did sink in. But he decided to throw them away. Just like he threw me away. Elise drove for about 20 minutes until we reached a small town. Low houses, dirt streets, a square with trees. He dropped me off at the door of the police station. "Are you going to be okay, Mr. Raymond?" "Yes, thank you." I got out of the truck. I went into the police station. A young officer was sitting behind a desk, drinking coffee. I told him what had happened. He looked at me with suspicion first, then with pity. He called Ethan's number. No answer. He called my home number. "The number you have dialed is not in service." And there, in that cold police station, with an officer who didn't know me looking at me as if I were crazy, I understood the magnitude of what had happened to me. Not only had they abandoned me, they had erased me. And I, the idiot, kept waiting for him to come back. Like an idiot. Like a dog waiting for its owner. Because a father can't accept that his son hates him, even if all the evidence is there. Even if he told you to your face. You keep waiting, like I waited. On that log, on that road, on that cold night that almost killed me, the officer lent me an old blanket that smelled of dampness. I sat down on a plastic chair in the police station and put it over my shoulders. I was shaking. Not just from the cold. I was shaking with rage, with fear, with pain. The wall clock showed 9 o'clock at night. 5 hours had passed since Ethan left me on that highway. 5 hours that felt like 50 years. The officer brought me a hot apple cider in a plastic cup. "Here, Mr. Raymond, it's hot." I grabbed it with both hands. The heat burned my palms, but I didn't let go. I needed to feel something, anything. I took a sip. It was sweet. Too sweet. But I drank it anyway. The officer sat down at his desk. "Do you have any other number? Anyone who can come pick you up?" I thought. "My sister, Rhonda." I gave him the number. The officer dialed. It rang 4 times. She answered. "Hello?" Rhonda's voice sounded tired. "Good evening, ma'am." This is Officer Munoz from the Palmilla Police Department. I have your brother, Raymond Lawrence, here. Silence. Then, Raymond? What happened? Can he explain it to you? I'll put him on. The officer handed me the phone. Rhonda? Raymond, what did you do now? Her tone was harsh. Nothing, sister. I didn't do anything. It was Ethan. He left me stranded on the highway. Another silence. Longer. And now you call me? After you threw me out of your house for defending him? Rhonda, please, I need help. No, Raymond. Didn't I tell you what was going to happen? I told you to your face, and you called me crazy. Figure it out yourself. And she hung up. The phone gave the dial tone. I was left with the device in my hand. My own sister had hung up on me. I gave the phone back to the officer. She's not coming. Do you have anyone else? I thought of my daughters, Hope and Grace. But Ethan had already planted the idea that I was confused. If he had lied to them, if he had set the stage, would they believe me? I didn't know, but I had to try. My daughters, Hope, they live in San Diego. I gave him the number. The officer dialed. She answered on the third ring. Hello? Hope's voice broke my heart. It had been 2 weeks since I last spoke to her. Hope, it's me. Dad? Dad? What happened? Are you okay? No, honey, I'm not okay. Ethan? Dad, Ethan called us last night. He said you were going on a trip with him. Where are you? In a police station, in a town I don't even know the name of. Ethan abandoned me on the highway. Silence on the other end. Then a sigh. Dad, Ethan also told us something else. What? That since the operation you've been confused. That you say things that aren't true. That you forget where you put things. That you make up stories. I felt my chest tighten. That's a lie, Hope. I'm fine. I'm lucid. Your brother sold the house and abandoned me. Dad, please don't start that again. Again? This is the first time I'm telling you. No, Dad. Last week you called saying Ethan wanted to rob you, and the week before you said someone had broken into the house. I had never said that. Never. Hope, I never said that. Ethan is lying to you. He planned all this to... Dad, stop, please. You're tired. Rest. We'll talk tomorrow. Hope, listen to me. Tomorrow, Dad. I love you. And she hung up. My own daughter hung up the phone on me. I sat there, with the cold cider cup in my hands, looking at the police station wall. There was a traffic safety poster, an old, outdated calendar, a photo of the president. Everything looked blurry. Or maybe it was just that my eyes were full of tears that I didn't want to let out. The officer cleared his throat. Mr. Raymond, the best thing is for you to rest here tonight. Tomorrow we'll figure out how to get you home, or to a shelter. I don't need a shelter, I said, my voice breaking. I need someone to believe me. The officer looked at me with pity. That look you give to crazy people, to drunks, to those who are out of touch with reality. Rest, sir. Everything will look clearer tomorrow. But I knew it wouldn't. That tomorrow would be worse. Because Ethan had planned everything perfectly. Every detail, every lie. And I was trapped in his web. I tried to sleep in that chair, but I couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the car driving away. I saw the taillights disappearing in the dust. I heard Ethan's voice. You're useless, Dad. The words spun in my head like a broken record, over and over again. At 2 o'clock in the morning, the officer brought me a ham and cheese sandwich. Eat something, sir. I wasn't hungry, but I took it. I took a bite. The bread was dry. The ham tasted like cardboard. But I chewed slowly, forcing myself to swallow, because if I didn't eat, I would faint. And if I fainted, they would take me to the hospital. And at the hospital, they would ask questions. And no one would believe me. No one. Because my son had done a perfect job. At 5 o'clock in the morning, the officer woke me up. I had fallen asleep without realizing it. "Mr. Raymond, I arranged for a friend to drive you to Raleigh. He leaves in 30 minutes. I rubbed my eyes. My whole body ached. My back, my legs, my neck. My heart was beating slowly, tiredly. "To Raleigh?" "Yes, to your house. Isn't that where you live?" I nodded, although I no longer knew if I had a home. I got up from the chair. My legs were shaking. The officer helped me walk outside. There was an old car, a gray Nissan, with a skinny man leaning against the door, smoking. "This is Mr. Raymond. He's the one you need to drive." The man looked me up and down. "Get in, sir." I got in. The car smelled of cigarette smoke and burnt oil. We started driving, and I looked out the window, watching the sunrise over the hills, thinking that maybe this was my last day. We arrived in Raleigh around 7 o'clock in the morning. The man dropped me off at the corner of my street. "Can you get there on your own from here?" "Yes, thank you." I got out. I walked slowly down the sidewalk. My heart was pounding hard, not from tiredness, from fear of what I was going to find. I reached the gate of my house, and I saw the chains. Thick chains with a huge padlock across the gates. I went closer. I touched the chains. They were cold, real. This wasn't a nightmare. This was happening. "Hello?" I yelled. "Is anyone there?" Silence. I touched the gate. The metal sounded hollow, empty. Mr. Patrick came out of his house. "Raymond, where have you been?" "Trucks came yesterday. They took everything." The words hit me like stones. "What?" "Your son. He came with some guys in a moving truck. They emptied the house, the furniture, the boxes, everything. I thought you were moving." My legs gave out. I grabbed the gate to keep from falling. Mr. Patrick ran toward me. "Calm down, Raymond. Come, sit down." He helped me walk to his yard. I sat on the curb of the sidewalk. I was breathing fast, too fast. My chest hurt. "Do you want me to call an ambulance?" "No," I said. "No." I put my hand on my chest. I took a deep breath. Once. Twice. "What time did they come?" "Around noon. Your son was here, directing everything. I asked him where you were. He told me you had gone on a trip, that you were moving to a smaller place." Lies. All lies. Mr. Patrick looked at me without understanding. "What?" "He abandoned me. He left me stranded on a highway to empty the house." Mr. Patrick opened his eyes wide. "No way." "Yes." I stayed seated there, looking at my house with chains, like a closed tomb. I heard an engine noise. I turned around. It was a black SUV. It stopped in front of my house. A tall man got out, about 70 years old, with a white mustache and a military bearing. I froze. It was Commander Harvey, my old friend from the Army. I hadn't seen him in about 10 years. "Raymond?" He walked toward me. "Raymond, what happened to you?" I stood up as best I could. "Harvey, how did you know?" "Your sister called me last night. She told me something about your son abandoning you." I didn't believe her, but I came anyway. He grabbed my shoulders. "Is it true?" I nodded. "It's true." Harvey looked at the chains on the gate. Then he looked at me. "Don't worry, brother. We're going to fix this." And for the first time in 2 days, I felt that someone believed me. Someone was on my side. Someone was going to help me. And that, in that moment, was worth more than all the gold in the world. Harvey walked to the gate. He touched the chains. "This is illegal. You can't lock yourself out of your house like this. He has a power of attorney. I signed it." "It doesn't matter. You don't do this. Let's go to the police." I already went to the police. They didn't believe me. "Why did you go to a town police station?" "Let's go to the one here. I know the chief of police." He helped me into his SUV. He started the engine. We were driving down the street when I saw two people running toward us, Bianca and Ben, my grandchildren. They were running with red eyes, desperate. Harvey braked. They reached the window. "Grandpa!" Bianca was crying. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." I opened the door. I got out. They hugged me. The two of them together, crying, trembling. And I, who had held it all together, without crying, felt something inside me break. But not yet. I still had to be strong. Because this wasn't over. This was just beginning. Bianca and Ben couldn't stop crying. They hugged me as if they hadn't seen me in years. "Grandpa, we tried to warn you," Bianca said between sobs. "We tried, but Dad wouldn't let us." Ben, who was always quieter, had a face red from crying so much. "Sorry, Grandpa. Sorry." I held them both, squeezing them against my chest. "It's not your fault, my children. It's not your fault." Harvey got out of the SUV. "Are these your grandchildren?" "Yes." "Do they know anything?" Bianca nodded, wiping her tears with her sleeve. "We know everything. Dad lied to all of us, but we found proof." She took out her cell phone from her pocket. "I have the messages. Everything is here." She showed me the screen. They were WhatsApp conversations from Ethan, my son, planning my destruction. Harvey drove me back to my house. The kids came with us. Mr. Patrick was still in his yard. Other neighbors had also come out. Mrs. Stella, Mr. Julius, the Morales family, everyone was watching. Harvey got out of the SUV and spoke loudly so everyone could hear. "This man, Raymond Lawrence, is the owner of this property. What happened here yesterday was a robbery. And we are going to prove it." The neighbors murmured. "A robbery?" "But it was his son." "The son defrauded him," Harvey said. "And you are all witnesses." He turned to me. "Raymond, do you have the house deeds?" "Are they inside?" "In the study." "And copies?" I thought. "In the bank, in my safety deposit box." "Good, let's go to the bank." We got back into the SUV, Bianca and Ben in the back, me in the front. And for the first time I felt that things were starting to move, that maybe not everything was lost. At the bank, the employee recognized me. "Mr. Raymond, how are you? You haven't been in for a while. I need to access my safety deposit box." "Of course, come this way." She led me to the basement. She opened the vault. I took out the box. Inside were the house deeds, my grandfather's papers, old, yellowed, but valid documents. "Here they are." Harvey checked them. "Perfect. This proves the house is yours. Now we need to prove the sale was fraudulent. I have the power of attorney I signed, but I never authorized the sale of the house. This is enough." We left the bank. We went to the notary's office. The notary, a heavy-set man with thick glasses, greeted us with an unfriendly look. "How can I help you?" "We need to see the record of a property sale," Harvey said. "From yesterday." He gave him the address of my house. The notary searched his computer. "Here it is. Sold by Ethan Lawrence on behalf of a Mr. Fields." "That sale is fraudulent," Harvey said. "The real owner is here." He pointed to me. The notary looked at us. "Do you have proof?" I showed him the deeds. The notary reviewed them. "These deeds are in the name of Raymond Lawrence, but here is a power of attorney authorizing Ethan Lawrence to sell." "That power of attorney never authorized a sale," I said. My voice trembled with rage. It was for emergencies, to pay bills, not to sell my house. The notary shrugged. If the power of attorney is signed, it's valid. But it's fraud, Harvey insisted. The gentleman did not authorize this sale. He was tricked. You have to prove that in court. I just did my job. We left the notary's office. I felt like my legs weighed a ton. I can't believe this, I said. My own son robbed me, and no one is doing anything. Harvey put his hand on my shoulder. They will do something, Raymond. I promise you. We went back to my house. The kids were still with us. Bianca was looking at her phone. Grandpa, I have to show you something. We sat in the SUV. She opened WhatsApp. She showed me a conversation. It was from a group called House Plan. It included Ethan, Georgia, and Everett. I started to read. Everything is ready. Tomorrow we sign. And the old man? I'll take him for a ride. I'll leave him somewhere far away. And what if he comes back? He won't come back. I'll disconnect the house phone. I'll tell the sisters he's senile. No one will believe him. And the kids? The kids don't know anything. And if they find out anything, it'll be too late. I read the messages once, twice. The words burned my eyes. My son. My own son. Planning my destruction as if it were a business deal, as if I were an errand, an obstacle, nothing more. I kept reading. There were more messages. How much is the house worth with everything? The appraiser said $250,000. And how much is Fields offering us? $200,000. It's a good price, considering it's fast and cash. And how do we split it? I keep $150,000. You two split the other $50,000. And the old man? The old man is no longer a problem. We'll leave him on the highway near Asheville. If someone finds him, he'll be so confused they won't believe him. If no one finds him, well, nature does its job. I felt my stomach churn. Ben was crying again. Grandpa, when we read that, we couldn't believe it. We wanted to tell you, but Dad was watching us. He wouldn't let us talk to you alone. We tried that morning, Bianca said. But Dad interrupted us. Harvey read the messages too. His face hardened. This is enough. With this, we can file criminal charges. Criminal charges? Yes. This is fraud, forgery of documents, and attempted murder. Murder? The word hit me hard. Yes, Raymond. He abandoned you in the middle of nowhere, knowing you have heart problems, without food or water. That is attempted murder. He can go to jail. The thought of my son going to jail made my stomach churn. Despite everything, despite what he had done to me, he was still my son. I don't know if I want that, I said. Harvey looked at me seriously. Raymond, listen to me. This man betrayed you in the worst way. He stole your house, your things, your dignity. And he was willing to let you die. You don't owe him anything, nothing. He was right. I knew it. But the heart doesn't listen to reason. The heart is idiotic. Grandpa, Bianca said, grabbing my hand. We're going to testify. We're going to tell everything. What Dad did. What Mom knew. Everything. Your mom knew? Bianca nodded. She knew everything. She was an accomplice. We heard conversations. Mom was the one who convinced Dad when he had doubts. Mom was worse than Dad. When Dad hesitated, she would tell him, Ethan, it's him or us. Either we keep living like this or we do something. We heard her once. They were in their room. Dad was saying, but he's my father, Georgia. And she replied, your father already lived his life. Your children need a future. Or do you want Ben to go to a state college? That's how she manipulated him. With us. She used her own children to convince him. Georgia, I whispered. The woman who cried on my shoulder the day of the trip. The one who told me, "I love you, father-in-law." All lies, all an act. And Everett? Everett was the driver. They paid him $20,000 to drive that day and keep quiet. $20,000. That was the price of my life. $20,000 for a guy I barely knew. I stared out the SUV window, looking at my house with the chains. And I thought, how did we get here? How did my life turn into this? Harvey started the SUV. "We're going to the district attorney's office, now." We went. The building was gray, ugly, with dirty walls and the smell of smoke. We went inside. A young prosecutor with glasses and a tired face saw us. "How can I help you?" Harvey spoke. He told her everything. The power of attorney, the abandonment, the messages. He showed her the proof. The prosecutor listened in silence. Then she looked at the messages on Bianca's phone. "This is serious," she said. "Very serious. Can you do something?" "Yes. I will launch an official investigation, and I will request a restraining order to block the sale of the property." "And Ethan?" "If the evidence is sufficient, he will be charged, and probably arrested." I nodded. The prosecutor looked at me. "Mr. Lawrence, are you willing to press charges against your son?" The question hung in the air. Was I willing? I looked at Bianca and Ben. They were looking at me with hope, with pain, with love, and I knew the answer. "Yes," I said, "I'm willing." The prosecutor nodded. "Good. I will need you to make a formal statement and to bring all the evidence you have." We spent 3 hours at the district attorney's office. I told them everything, from the beginning, from the power of attorney to the abandonment. The prosecutor recorded everything. She took notes. Harvey was sitting next to me. Bianca and Ben also gave statements. They showed the messages. They told what they had heard. When we finished, it was already night. We left the building. I was exhausted, physically and emotionally. "Where are you going to sleep tonight?" Harvey asked. "I don't have a home. I don't have anything. I don't know. Come to my house. I have a guest room. I don't want to bother you. You're not bothering me. Come." I accepted. Because I had no choice. Because I was broken. Because I needed a place where I could feel safe, even if only for one night. That night, lying in the bed in Harvey's guest room, I stared at the ceiling. I thought about everything. Mary Jean, the house, the paintings, the Swiss clock, everything I had lost, and I felt something strange in my chest. It wasn't pain, it wasn't sadness. It was something else. It was determination. Because up until that moment, I had been the victim, the abandoned old man, the betrayed father, but no more. Now I was going to reclaim what was mine, not for revenge, not for hate, but for dignity. Because a man can lose everything, but if he loses his dignity, he's nothing, and I was still something. I was still Raymond Lawrence Figueroa. I still had 76 years of life, which were worth more than any house. I didn't cry that night. I just breathed, deeply. And I decided that this wasn't going to destroy me, that I was going to survive, and that I was going to win. 1 week later, Harvey called me to his study. "Raymond, I have something to propose to you." We were sitting in his office, surrounded by papers and old army photos. "I'm listening." "I have a trucking company in Boston. It's not big, but it's doing well. I need a partner, someone I can trust." I looked at him. "Harvey, I'm a mechanic. I don't know anything about trucking. But you know engines. You know maintenance. You know hard work." He leaned forward. "Come to Boston. Start over. Leave all this crap your son did behind you. I don't have any money to invest. I don't need your money. I need your experience and your word." He extended his hand. "What do you say?" I looked at that hand, wrinkled, covered in age spots, but firm like mine. "Why are you doing this for me?" "Because in the army I learned that brothers don't abandon each other. And you are my brother, Raymond." I took his hand. "I accept." I moved to Boston 2 weeks later. Harvey found me a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood. 2 rooms, kitchen, bathroom. Nothing luxurious. But it was mine. Or at least it was a place where no one was going to betray me. I started working at the trucking company. At first I just checked the trucks. I verified that they were in good condition. But little by little I learned the business. The contracts, the clients, the routes. Harvey taught me patiently. "Don't rush, Raymond. Step by step." And I progressed. Slowly, but I progressed. Every day that passed, I felt that I was waking up a little more, that I stopped being that old man abandoned on the highway, that I was Raymond again, the one who had worked since he was 14, the one who raised 3 children alone, the one who survived everything. And now I was going to survive this too. Meanwhile, the prosecutor's investigation progressed. The prosecutor called me every week with updates. "Mr. Lawrence, we blocked the sale of the house. Fields cannot take possession until the trial ends." "And Ethan?" "We summoned him to testify. He didn't show up." "What happens if he doesn't show up?" "An arrest warrant is issued." The thought made my stomach churn. My son, a fugitive. But it had been his decision, not mine. Bianca and Ben visited me in Boston every 2 weeks. They came by bus. They brought food they cooked themselves. "Grandpa, we miss you," Bianca said, hugging me. "How's the company going?" "Good, my child. Very good." Ben looked at everything curiously. "And when are you coming back to Raleigh?" "I don't know. Maybe never." And it was true. Raleigh was no longer my home. There was nothing left there for me. 3 months later, everything changed. The company was growing. We got new contracts. We bought 2 more trucks. Harvey made me an official partner. 50-50, he told me. "Are you sure?" "Absolutely sure." We signed the papers with a notary. And for the first time in months, I felt something akin to joy. It wasn't complete joy. There was still a lot of pain. But it was a beginning. I bought new clothes, a gray suit, a white shirt, leather shoes. Nothing very expensive, but decent. I looked at myself in the dressing room mirror. That man looking back at me was not the same one who had gotten into that car 3 months earlier. It was another person. Thinner, harder, stronger, with deeper wrinkles around the eyes, but with something new in his gaze. Determination, dignity, pride. It fit me well. The prosecutor called me one Thursday. "Mr. Lawrence, we have a trial date and something else." "What?" "Your son tried to sell the objects from the house, the paintings, the clocks, the maps. But the buyers filed a complaint when they saw there was a judicial block." "Are the objects blocked too?" "Yes. Everything is in a customs warehouse. When the trial ends, if we win, they will return everything to you." I felt something in my chest loosen. My grandfather's paintings, the Swiss clock, the antique maps. They weren't lost. There was still hope. "And when is the trial?" "In 2 months, November." "Do I have to be there?" "Yes." "And do we need witnesses? Are the grandchildren going to testify?" "Yes, they are going to testify." "Good. With their testimony and the evidence we have, we are going to win." I hung up the phone, and for the first time I felt that justice existed. That not everything was lost, that there was light at the end of the tunnel. I hired a lawyer. the best I could afford. His name was Shepard, a serious guy with a thin mustache who spoke with words I didn't understand, but which sounded powerful. "Mr. Lawrence, your case is solid. We have fraud, forgery of documents, misappropriation, and attempted abandonment of a person. What sentence can he get? Between 5 and 10 years in jail." 10 years. My son could spend 10 years in jail for what he did to me. The thought hurt and relieved me at the same time. What if he wants to negotiate? Let him negotiate. But we are asking for the complete return of everything: the house, the objects, and compensation for damages. Compensation? Yes, for the psychological and physical damage he caused you. I didn't want his money. I just wanted my house, my life. But Shepard was right. We had to ask for everything, because in negotiations, you always ask for more to get what you really want. Ethan tried to contact me. He sent messages through Bianca. "Tell your grandpa I need to talk to him." What should I tell him, Grandpa? "Tell him to talk to my lawyer." "But Dad says he wants to talk to you directly." "I have nothing to talk about with him." Bianca looked at me sadly. "Grandpa, Dad is desperate. He says he's going to lose everything. I lost everything when he abandoned me on that highway. Now it's his turn." It sounded harsh, and it was. But it was the truth. I didn't owe him anything. I didn't owe him a conversation or a look. Nothing. He also tried to call me. Unknown numbers that I didn't answer. He left voicemails. "Dad, please, we have to fix this. I made a mistake." "But we can work it out." I deleted the messages without listening to them completely. I didn't want to hear his voice. Not yet. Maybe never. In October, my cousin Steve was getting married in Raleigh. A big wedding in a ballroom with a garden. The invitation came in the mail. I hesitated. I didn't want to go back to Raleigh. I didn't want to see the people who had seen me fall. But Harvey convinced me. "Raymond, you have to go. You have to show them that you're okay. That you won." "I haven't won anything yet." "You already won. You're alive. You're working. You're rebuilt. That is winning." He was right. I decided to go. I put on the new suit, the leather shoes. I slicked my hair back with gel like I did when I was young. I looked at myself in the mirror. That man looking back at me was no longer a victim. He was a survivor. And survivors don't hide. They face things. I grabbed the keys to the company's SUV that Harvey had lent me, and I drove toward Raleigh, toward my past, toward my revenge. No, toward my justice. I arrived at the ballroom around 7 o'clock in the evening. There were people in the garden, music, tables with white tablecloths. I walked in. Conversations quieted down. People looked at me, some with surprise, others with pity, others with curiosity. I walked with my back straight, looking forward. I saw Hope and Grace near a table. They saw me. They froze. I walked toward them. "Hello, daughters?" Hope had tears in her eyes. "Dad, We'll talk later," I said. I kept walking. I saw my sister Rhonda. She smiled. That smile that said, "I told you so." I approached her. We hugged. "Rhonda, Raymond, you look good." "I feel good." "Where is Ethan?" She pointed toward the back of the garden. I saw him. He was standing alone, with a glass in his hand, looking at the floor. Georgia was next to him, nervous. When Ethan looked up and saw me, his face turned white, as if he had seen a ghost. And maybe I was. The ghost of the father he tried to kill. Ethan walked closer. He walked slowly, as if every step was difficult. People were watching us. Everyone knew. In a small town, everyone knows everything. He stopped about 3 feet from me. He opened his mouth. "Dad." I looked him in the eyes. Those eyes that were the same as Mary Jean's. Those eyes that once looked at me with love. "No. Dad, we have to talk." "We have nothing to talk about, Ethan. Please. I'm begging you." People surrounded us, a silent circle. "What do you want to talk about? About how you left me stranded on a highway? About how you sold my house? About how you stole everything from me?" My voice came out strong, clear, without trembling. Ethan looked around. "Not here, Dad." "Yes, here, here. In front of everyone, because everyone has to know who you are." Ethan lowered his gaze. I made a mistake." "You didn't make a mistake. You planned everything, every detail, for months. Dad, I needed the money, and I needed a son. But neither of us got what we needed, did we?" I turned my back on him, and I walked toward the exit. And for the first time in months, I smiled. I left the ballroom. I breathed the fresh night air. Bianca and Ben ran after me. "Grandpa, wait!" I stopped. They hugged me. "We're proud of you," Ben said. "Very proud," Bianca added. I hugged them tightly to my chest. "Thank you, my children. Thank you." Harvey also came out. "Shall we go?" "Yes. I've done what I came here to do." "And what was that?" "To show them that I'm still here, that they didn't destroy me, that I'm stronger than their betrayal." We got into the SUV. I started the engine. I looked in the rearview mirror. Ethan was standing at the ballroom door, watching me. But I no longer looked back. I no longer needed to. Because my life was ahead of me now. In Boston, in the company, in myself. For the first time in 76 years, I was living for me. Not for my children, not for my family, for me. And that, even though it cost everything it cost, was liberating. It was truly living. Finally. The trial was in November. A cold, gray Tuesday, I arrived at the courthouse with Shepard, my lawyer. Bianca and Ben were with me. Harvey, too. We entered the courtroom. Ethan was already there, sitting next to his lawyer, a young guy who looked nervous. Georgia was in the public benches. Everett, too. When they saw me walk in, Ethan lowered his gaze. Georgia bit her lip. Everett greeted me with a nod, as if asking for forgiveness. I didn't return the greeting. We sat down. The judge walked in, a woman about 60 years old, with short hair and a serious look. "The hearing is now open in the case of Lawrence versus Lawrence." And so it began. My son versus me. Or me versus my son, however you want to see it. The final battle. And I was ready. I testified first. I told everything, from the pacemaker operation to the abandonment on the highway. The judge listened without interrupting. She took notes. When I finished, she asked, "Why do you believe your son did this?" I took a deep breath. Because ambition blinded him. Because he measured the value of my life and decided it wasn't worth enough. "Would you forgive him?" I fell silent. The question caught me by surprise. "I don't know, but I know I won't forget." Then Bianca and Ben testified. They told what they had heard, what they had seen. They showed the WhatsApp messages. The judge read them in silence. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes did. There was indignation there. There was justice. Ethan stared at the floor. He didn't look up once while his children exposed him. And that, somehow, gave me more sadness than anger. Because it meant he knew. That he was aware of what he had done. And he still did it. Ethan's lawyer tried to defend him. "My client acted under economic pressure. He had debts. His family depended on him." It was not with the intention of harming his father. Shepard stood up. With all due respect, Your Honor, the intent is clear in the messages. If no one finds him, nature does its job. That is not economic pressure. That is attempted murder. The judge nodded. Continue. Shepard presented all the evidence. The messages, the fraudulent power of attorney, the neighbors' testimonies, the medical report that showed my health status after the abandonment. Everything was there, black and white. There was no way to deny it. Ethan whispered something to his lawyer. The lawyer stood up. Your Honor, my client wants to reach a settlement. What kind of settlement? Complete return of the property and objects, and a public apology? Shepard looked at me. I shook my head. There is no settlement, Shepard said. We want a sentence. The judge took 2 weeks to decide. 2 weeks that I spent working, trying not to think. But I was thinking. All the time I was thinking. About Mary Jean, about the house, about Ethan when he was little. About everything we had been through. When did it break? When did he stop being my son and become this? I didn't have an answer. Maybe I never would. On the day of the verdict, the courtroom was full. The whole family was there. Hope and Grace arrived from San Diego. Rhonda was in the front row. Mr. Patrick, my neighbor, also came. I came to support you, Raymond. The judge walked in. We all stood up. She sat down. She opened a folder. The court is now in session in the case of Lawrence versus Lawrence. I have reviewed all the evidence presented in this case, and my decision is as follows. The silence was absolute. Ethan Lawrence is guilty of fraud, forgery of documents, and abandonment of a person. My heart pounded hard. The sentence is 6 years in jail, with a conditional suspension of 3 years if he returns all assets. Ethan collapsed in his chair. Furthermore, the judge continued, I order the immediate return of the property located at, she said my address, and all objects that were taken, and compensation of $50,000 for damages. Shepard squeezed my shoulder. We won. But I didn't feel victory. I felt empty, because winning meant that my son had lost. And even though he had betrayed me, he was still my son. We left the courthouse. Ethan left through another door, escorted by his lawyer. We didn't look at each other. Bianca and Ben hugged me. Grandpa, you won? Yes, my children, I won. Hope and Grace approached me. Their eyes were red. Dad, we're so sorry. We should have believed you. I looked at them. My daughters, my girls. It's okay. It's over. It's not okay, Hope said. We failed you, and we'll spend the rest of our lives trying to make it up to you. I don't need compensation. I just need you to be here now. And I hugged them, the 3 of us together. Like when they were little and Mary Jean was still alive. 1 month later, I went back to Raleigh. The house was already unlocked. The chains were gone. The gates were open. I walked in slowly, my heart pounding hard. The house was empty. Ethan hadn't returned the furniture yet, but it was clean. The walls were still there. The wooden floor that Mary Jean had chosen. The high ceiling with the beams my grandfather had installed. I walked through every room, the dining room, the living room, my room, the twins' room, the study, all empty, but still mine. I stood in the center of the living room, and I cried. For the first time since it all began, I cried. Not from sadness, from relief. Because the house had returned. My house, my home, my life. Harvey walked in behind me. What are you going to do with it? I don't know. Maybe sell it. Sell it? Yes. This house has too many memories, good and bad. I need to start over. And the company? I'm keeping the company. That's my future now. Harvey smiled. I think that's a good idea. I organized a party in the backyard of the house, a farewell party. I invited everyone, my daughters, Rhonda, the neighbors, Harvey and his family, Bianca and Ben. It was a sunny Saturday in December. We set up long tables with food, barbecue, salads, wine. Music from the 70s played on an old speaker. People laughed. They talked. They congratulated me. Raymond, it's great that you got the house back. Raymond, you look really good. Raymond, you're an inspiration. I smiled. I thanked them. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. Bianca and Ben were by my side the whole time. Proud, happy. Grandpa, we love you, Bianca said, hugging me. And I love you too, my children. You saved me. No, Grandpa. You saved yourself. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had saved myself. With help, yes. But in the end, the decision to get up had been mine, no one else's. Hope and Grace arrived together, with their husbands and their children. My other grandchildren, who lived far away and whom I rarely saw. They approached timidly. Grandpa, do you remember us? Of course I remember. I hugged them. Mom told us everything. What Uncle Ethan did to you. It's over now. No, Grandpa, it's not over. We should have been there too. We should have defended you. You're here now. That's what matters. Rhonda approached with a bottle of wine. Raymond? I told you so. I laughed. Yes, sister. You told me so. And you didn't listen to me. I know. Forgive me. I already forgave you, silly. The important thing is that you're okay. We clinked glasses. To brothers who don't give up, she said. To brothers who don't give up, I repeated. And we drank. The party was in full swing when I saw him. Ethan standing at the gate, looking inside. He hadn't come in. He was just watching. The music continued. People kept laughing. But I saw him, and he saw me. I walked toward the gate, slowly. With the wine glass still in my hand, I reached him. We stood looking at each other. Two men who were once father and son. Dad, his voice trembled. Don't call me that. Please, I just want to apologize. Apologize? I laughed, a bitter laugh. Do you think an apology fixes this? No, but it's all I can do. I looked at him. I really looked at him. He was thin, hollow-eyed, with new wrinkles on his face. He looked old, older than me. You abandoned me like a dog in the middle of nowhere, I said. My voice came out cold, harsh. Did you think I was going to die there? That the cold or my heart would kill me? And you were going to take everything? Ethan was crying. I didn't want to. But the dog didn't die, I continued. The dog found a new home. He found people who valued him, who respected him. Dad, and you lost the only father you had. Ethan collapsed. He literally fell to his knees. He cried like a child. Forgive me, Dad. Please forgive me. I didn't cry. I stood there with the glass of wine in my hand, watching him. I felt many things. Sadness, anger, pity. But I didn't feel like forgiving him. Not yet. Maybe never. Get up, I told him. Don't kneel. That doesn't give you dignity. He stood up. He wiped his tears with his sleeve. Will you ever forgive me? I don't know, Ethan. Not today. And tomorrow? Not tomorrow either. Maybe in 10 years. Maybe never. But today, right now, I need you to know something. What? That I survived. That I rebuilt myself. That I found a new life without you. And that life is better than the one I had before. Because now I know who truly loves me, and who only loves me for what I have. Ethan lowered his gaze. Go, I told him. This party is not for you. And he left. He walked down the street, his shoulders slumped, defeated. And I went back to the garden. I went back to my people, to the ones who stayed. That night, when everyone left, I stayed alone in the garden, sitting in a chair, looking at the stars, the same stars I had seen that night on the highway, when I thought I was going to die. But I didn't die. I survived. And I didn't just survive. I was reborn. Because sometimes life takes everything from you. It leaves you in the middle of nowhere. It abandons you. It betrays you. But if you have dignity, if you have strength, if you have the will to keep going, you can rebuild yourself. You can start over. At 76 years old, I started over. And it was hard. And it was painful. But I did it. And now I'm here, with my house recovered, with my company, with my family that truly loves me, with my dignity intact. The highway didn't kill me. It gave me back my life. It showed me who I really was. And that, although it's hard to believe, was the greatest gift I could receive. Because now I know that it doesn't matter how many times you fall. What matters is how many times you get up. And I got up. And I'm here. And I'm going to stay here. Until the last day of my life. And you? What would you do if your own son abandoned you in the middle of nowhere? Would you forgive, or would you move forward without looking back?